Hello everyone, it's Kay here with another wonderful product sent to me by Handyhippo Crafts, www.handyhippo.co.uk. This is the latest from We Are Memory Keepers as I understand it, and it's called the Rosette Punch. It's quite a neat little package. You've got all your cutting area in the back as per, a nice firm flexible springy cutting area, and in this lovely cream and blue. Not that it makes a whole lot of difference about colour, but it feels substantial. It feels like a product that is not going to let you down too quickly. There are two markers on the front of the punch that you use to central your rosette papers once you've got them all sorted out. It's a quick and easy way to make rosette. So I've done a little bit of preparatory work here for the sake of the video and timing, and what I've done here is cut out two pieces of paper at 2.5 inches using the standard cutting board. I've then gone and scored at every 1/2 inch across the paper. I've kept the two pieces of paper together because indeed this punch will actually take a lightweight card without too much difficulty. So I'll just pop this into the gizmo so you can see exactly how it works. You are somewhat restricted. They recommend either a 1/2 inch or a 1 inch score line, and that is only to allow for the decorative edge to be formed using the punch. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and I am going to stand up because it makes it easier for me looking down on it, and I've also scored where I want to punch because I'm very easily distracted, I find, and it's quite difficult then to line it up again to find where you are. And you simply line up the score line with the line to the front and on the base of the punch. And I'm just going to miss a score, punch a score, miss a score, punch a score, and you can see how easily this is cutting through the double layer of paper. It's quite important to line it up to the back of the punch so that you get the same size and area punch throughout your strip of paper. If you don't line up the back, then you do get a disjointed cut that really doesn't look good as you're punching it out in this manner. So there I've just done it there. There are the two pieces of paper cut. I'm not going to worry about this. You know exactly what I mean, and it is about lining it up and getting it where you want it to be. You then go through the mountain valley fold on the scores that you've previously made, and it is as simple as this. I think in practice, because of where the cuts land, it just allows you to fold very simply in this way. And you just continue through on the strip. Now for something of a 2-inch size, you do need 2 strips to allow for a fullness in the rosette formation. So I'll just do this other one as well. And it really is as easy as it looks, as long as you've scored well and got your punch right. It all just comes together beautifully. I haven't got scissors, Gary, sorry, can you find me some scissors? What you have to do then is line up your two edges, and it is as simple then as cutting one piece off. Thank you, where would I be without the film crew? I'm just going to snip off that end, apply a little bit of ordinary PVA glue. This one does dry quite quickly when I can get it to open and flow. This one dries quite quickly and is strong enough for the job, and you just overlap those two edges like so. Excuse that awful bit of punching there. It's me, I hasten to add, not the machine. And then come back around to the other side so that you're making a little coronet. And again, I'm going to snip that off and just overlap the two sheets of paper either end so that the punch lines line up. You are in a position, as I'm doing here, if you've had a little bit of a dippy moment like I did, to just tidy it up and keep it all together. Go back to the area that you've glued and just make sure that the mountain valley fold flows and you haven't got an area that isn't folded securely. You then need some little circles to anchor down the rosette, and I'm just priming them with a little bit of the PVA glue here, because all you need to do, if you have the colour facing outward, all you need to do is just fold this into the centre. It will take a little bit of manipulating, but once you've done it a few times, it really does get very, very easy to do. And then I'm just going to pop that on the top there. I've got a not very good piece there. Let it spread out where it wants to within the confines of the little disc that you've placed on top of your work. I've got an area there that I'm going to have to stick. I've just rushed because of time scale on the video, but you'll see some that I've prepared and they actually do come out really, really nicely. I'm just giving this time to anchor a little bit. Then I'm going to turn it over. All the best laid plans. Put the other disc on the other side. I'm trying to rush this, which is never a good idea. Spread out the rosette as best you can whilst it's under there, and then I'm just going to use something quite weighty to hold that down. And whilst that is going off, I will show you some of the rosettes that I've made already. But before I do, I need to talk to you about the recommendation of the punch on the width of punch that is best to use. Now you'll appreciate you've got the width of the punch to put your paper into, then you've got the depth of the actual cutout. And what the company recommend is that you use a piece of paper that is either 2.5 inches in width or 2 1/4, which does somewhat restrict the size of the rosette that you can make. You can make as large as you like, but the smaller rosettes are quite difficult to do. But there is a way to get around that, and what I found myself doing was getting a 4-inch piece of paper, punching either side of the paper, and then simply cutting down through the centre. In that instance, you only actually need one strip to make the rosette, because obviously you don't want too much of a hole in the centre of the rosette. It is very much trial and error, but everything is possible. The other thing I did was to actually get a 2.5 inch piece of paper as recommended by the company. I then went through all the scoring and punching process as you saw there, and then cut off 1 inch of paper once I'd settled the sheet width into the area that I wanted it to be, and that worked very well as well. It is just then trial and error in getting the centre of your card and rosette sorted out and going on from there. Now that's come loose a little bit, but the idea then would be that you used a rosette or something of that nature and just add it onto the doily, and it actually is quite an effective centerpiece for a card, for a gift tag, whatever you would care to mention really. So that one has been terribly rushed, but I hope you get the gist of what I am trying to explain to you. Your tools, as you see, are very minimal. Your punch, paper, lightweight card, a little circle punch and some PVA glue, and the rest, as they say, is all down to your imagination. Now I'd like to show you some cards that I've made first, and these are quite festive. They're very similar in their makeup, but I hope you understand that this is possible. You don't have to just take it as a rosette. It is a beautiful decoration. This card, I actually used a lightweight card in the center, and this is one of the smaller rosettes here. A little bit of contrasting ribbon just in the center, and then this pretty little doodad, some bling in the corners, and I actually cut up one of the doilies and just decorated it as you see on the front, and then just put a little paper insert inside to leave the message. This is a double layer doily. You can use single, obviously, but what I was hoping to be able to do was just ruffle up the doily a little bit and give that fluted lace effect to the card. So that's the first one. The second one is very similar, but I have to say, using different colours, using different papers, throws a whole new look onto how the cards come together. This is the 2.5 inch size. This is the 2 inch size that I talked about, whereby I just cut off an extra strip from the paper so that I could make that smaller rosette. Again, the doilies have come in very handy. I've used the mirror board, all available on Handyhippo. The doilies are available on Handyhippo. The only thing that you won't find there are the little centres that I've taken out of my own stash, but the bling, and this punch, you won't get the 25th of December punch, but in the main, those products are very much available on Handyhippo. I then went on to make a smaller card, which would be like a birthday card or a thank you card. This is using the paper 300 GSM card stock from Handyhippo, and it's actually got an aperture in the front, so I've just used plain card stock, cut out the square so that the rosette is a little bit sat back into the card, made some faux corners around the mirror board, which just then throws the rosette out, a little then matching centre, and a tiny little bling and some brown ribbon there just sets that card off quite nicely. I then made a little gift tag approach with a double bow, a little rose in the centre, but you could attach some more ribbon and just then attach that to a card. There's room on the back of the rosette to place a square or a larger circle so that you could identify who you were sending the parcel to, leave a little message, and I think that's quite a nice idea. It just does lend itself to doing something different on your packaging, which is always a nice thing for us crafters when we're sending off handmade goods to friends and family. I then went on to make these single Christmas decorations, which actually came out quite well, using different coloured cards, some punches, some festive coloured ribbons, some little red doodads there in the centre, which came from I can't remember the name of the shop. Anyway, a shop on eBay. All of these things just add the finishing touches to anything that you care to make. These can be hung from the Christmas tree if you so desired. They could be hung on little pins on walls, whatever you care to do with them really. And again, you could use them on Christmas parcels. There's no limit to what they can be used for. I then made this lovely wall hanging, and this was absolutely such a fun thing to do. I just used the 3 rosettes, backed them on this very festive ribbon. I put a bronze effect snowflake on the bottom, which I'm hoping is being picked up there. There is this lovely little snowman in the center one, and it does allow itself, once you get it lined up fully, to be hung on the wall, and it does make a rather lovely decoration to add a little bit of festivity to a door or a wall or wherever you felt it was appropriate to use it. So I'll leave that one there. I was quite pleased with that one. It is a little bit wayward insofar as it does need the backing of a wall or a door to hold it exactly where you want it to be, but all in all it's a great fun thing to do, something that the children could get involved in, I'm sure. And then the final one I made is a proper wall hanging. Again, you could use it, I'm being told to bring it forward, you could use it for a special occasion. You could put people's names on it. You could just really go to town with whatever design. It's very simple in its makeup. I've made a large rosette here. It was a 6-inch strip of card, which I then punched. Lightweight card, I have to emphasize. I don't think the punch would be suitable for, you know, the really good quality card. I then made it slightly oval. I then made the second tier of the rosette, put lace in beside that, in behind that, added sequins, some ribbons, some bling on the front. The third layer is the white layer once again, and you can see the size is decreasing. I then used just an ordinary crochet doily on top of that, put the sequins in each of the little apertures as they're folded, and then married up with the bow at the bottom here, which has been threaded all the way through the holes in the rosette. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but what I'm doing is lending a little bit of inspiration to just show you the capabilities of the punch. On the back for this, purely to stabilize it, I've just put this square piece of paper, anchored down the ribbon as tidily as I could. I mean, obviously you can do things a whole lot tidier, but I wanted to get these things done to show the promise of this rosette. You could add a picture there, you could add a sentiment there for, you know, a wedding anniversary, in fact even a wedding day, but I thought the colours just lent themselves to a little bit of icy frostiness for Christmas. So I hope this has been an inspiration to you. This really is such a wonderful toy to play with, and I hope you feel you would like to look into it for yourselves. Thank you for sharing this time with me. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing this wonderful punch to you, and I do thank Handyhippo for giving me the opportunity to play with this lovely toy. Thank you very much. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye bye for now.